are safe from the snowstorm. We're under all kinds of winter weather alerts as we could see as much as looks like 4 inches of snow may fall upon the Philadelphia area. But beyond, if you're south of us, if you're in Delaware, if you're in South Jersey, if you're in D.C., oh my goodness, 6 to 8 inches in South Jersey or Delaware, but up to maybe 10 inches to a foot of snow. Hi, everybody. Dawn Stensland here at Dawn Stensland on X on Twitter. Executive producer Dan Borowski, Jimmy Kelly still here working. We're kind of extended this morning because Greg Stocker has COVID. So God bless Greg. Hope you're better. We were so sick, all of us, but I was the least sick in my household. How about you? Did you guys get COVID? Did you get neurovirus? We had everything flying through our house. Dan Borowski, I know that your nose is a little bit red. You're kind of
little red. I have a little bit of a mucus, but I think I'm good. Yeah, I know. A little too much information for the audience, right?
I know. I wish I had thought about Paxlovid. COVID was not even on my radar.
No?
Not even. That Friday, we had a great event, even though it was kind of snowy precipitation that night on the Friday the 20th. Families, behind the badge, and many of our police widows or the wife of Andy Chan, of course, Officer Andy Chan, who's still recovering from being on duty and having an injury. But I suspect that maybe because we were in close quarters, we weren't outside because of all the precipitation that night. Maybe that fueled our, spread. Yeah. We didn't stop the spread. That's all right.
It's not good, Dawn.
I know.
So you picked it up, you think, there?
I don't know. I think it was just, I wasn't thinking about COVID. It just wasn't top of mind. Neurovirus also is a bad one.
Bird flu?
No, I don't think many humans have bird flu, thank goodness. But I think it's more of a neurovirus, so beware. And if you catch COVID within the first 5 days, especially within the first 3 days, and you get the Paxlovid, then you're going to mitigate it greatly. So I recommend it. I'm just saying.
And the parade, how was that?
Oh my gosh, Mummers Day Parade. High security because of what had happened tragically in New Orleans. I know we've been talking about it and updating you, but kudos to our Philadelphia police. There were at least 7 K-9 units. So when we drove in my minivan, they kept everybody about a block away. And then they had the huge sanitation trucks to do an amazing job. Philadelphia police, Pennsylvania State Police, all the first responders, but they put the sanitation trucks blocking all the streets. And then if you were allowed to drive in, which we were because we were right in the shadow of City Hall, then they just brought a K-9 unit and, made sure that they sniffed your car. And I was like, do you want me to open the back? They're like, no, we're good. We don't want to see that hot mess of the Piazza minivan, right? But they were terrific. They did a terrific job. And I think...
Any standout acts this year, in your opinion?
It was. I know that, here's the thing, every year it seems like a tougher competition because everybody, even the wenches, which used to be more just, men dressed up and men and women dancing and having a great time. I would say even everybody has stepped it up so much. And also I would say the Mummers Parade it's a great way for younger people, high school and college student age, to meet. Because we have less and less places post-COVID to meet people and just have fun, get out there and dance. If you love to dance, if you're musical,
young people out there doing those troops. It's great to see. That's because when you meet, and we always do all the tributes, right, to all the different individuals serving, 50 years as a mummer. The number one thing they all say when we do our meetings, leading up to the big Mummers Day Parade, one of a kind in the nation, they say, please just keep it alive. And they love that we broadcast live on MeTV2 locally and streaming nationally. But I just think that's the big thing that they want to carry it on. So it was a great event.
It is. It's wonderful. It really is. And I'm glad that we got it, that Larry and I were able to, make it through. We had been really sick.
Were you sick like at the parade?
Well, you can hear I'm just kind of nasally.
Yeah.
And supposedly, I didn't test for it at the time, but supposedly I might have had COVID. But I can't even say for sure. It's just this cold that is persistent. As far as the Mummers result, South Philadelphia and Quaker City, they tied for the top, by the way, for the number 1 spot. And then Freilinger was number 3, Uptown number 4, Avalon number 5.
Can you have a tie?
Huh?
Is a tie okay? I mean, come on.
I don't remember. Jimmy Kelly, I know you were down there. I don't know if Jimmy remembers a time that we've had ties. Congratulations. As far as the string band captain results, South Philadelphia's Denny Palandro. Congratulations. Number 1. These are the string band captain results. Cade Ratcliffe from Uptown, number 2, and George Balzer the 4th, Woodland. It was just tough. Some of them I thought, I'm glad I'm not a judge. I know that's cliche-ish to say,
yeah,
but it was tough this year.
They were that good?
They were amazing. Fancy Brigade, Shooting Stars. I don't know. It was awesome.
That sounds great.
South Philly, they usually tie every year, or they get first every year. I know a few of the people from South Philly string band. My friend Jimmy Brown, he's
Sure.
He's one of the music directors. I know so many people from that area. I was down on 2nd Street at Riverfront Mummers. I was DJing, and one of the things I noticed following the incident in New Orleans is that there were a lot more cops down there than normal. I mean, every corner had at least 4 or 5, if not 6 cops on every corner of 2nd Street. They were not taking any chances this year.
So I don't have that confirmation. I would love to know, Jimmy Kelly, the number. I did not notice a difference in the numbers of law enforcement. I will say that. What I noticed was the difference in barricades. In other words, the sanitation trucks, which obviously they have the barricades around City Hall, around the stage and all that sort of thing. But I'm talking about 2 blocks away, 3 blocks away. All the streets were barricaded, and barricaded with huge, the trucks, the big, the garbage trucks, basically.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember as many canine units.
Really?
Because they were, me with the dogs. So
Right.
Titan was thank you to Titan's crew, but Titan was the canine who searched the minivan. Oh, you know, I've had sauce and chicken. I was saying, here are these
Is
big.
it okay to call a canine?
These
adorable?
big cops, these big, brawny, law enforcement, and then these canines that are, so like amazing dogs and canines, German Shepherds. And there I am, of course, with my buddy voice going, oh, Titan, awesome chicken, and they're laughing at me.
Well, I guess the Mummers, I believe they gave a really nice shout-out to Sherelle Parker this year.
Well, did you see our exclusive interview?
Oh, you had an interview.
Yeah, Larry. So the mayor not only was honored, of course, but she was honored, and the Mummers really thanking her for really continuing a tradition that, you think of past mayor, think of Ed Rendell, right? He was right there. And then the last guy, we won't even, the Prosecco loving mayor, disaster.
Jim Kenny, not Kelly.
Get that correction out there, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. It's Kelly. He is Kenny.
No relation to Jimmy Kelly, okay?
No, thank goodness.
And but no, she was front and center, was out there and led the parade, and then came up in the broadcast booth with us live and just hung out and was just genuinely excited for the Mummers Parade, and just said that she wants to be the unity mayor. She wants to bring people together. She sees, I should have pulled that audio.
Well, I have some audio of your introduction, and I'm looking for the Perel. I'll have that at some point today's show.
Okay, we'll bring it to you. But, she's passionate. She was excited to be there and excited for the Mummers and wants them to do well. And I think it was a great way to ring in the new year. And I know some people are like, oh, you love Sherelle Parker. Well, I do like Sherelle Parker. By the way, she's a new mayor, but she's not new to Philadelphia. I've known her for years, but she's not a progressive. That's not who she is. And I will go out on a limb and say there's a lot about Sherelle Parker that reminds me of Trump. She's a little Trumpish, meaning she cares about business, she's passionate, and she is not going to apologize for who and what she is or believes in. And that is much like you saw with whatever Trump thinks, he says it, he believes it. Obviously, there are different people, different backgrounds, but in many ways, that authenticity factor is important to me. And I think she has that. And she's all about the business. she said the mummers are one more a possible revenue stream, and also a group of people who are dedicated to the arts, if you will, and a way to, with schools cutting back on arts programs and music programs. So she sees that as another opportunity. So you can disagree with me if you hate my guts for saying that. 855-839-1210. I'll always bring you, I'll tell you what I feel. And speaking of that, we have to get into, I was looking up the Democrats who voted against a new law. This is South Carolina's Nancy Mace, and this is the House of Representatives. She was the one who proposed this because she is a survivor of rape. And so she was the one, Nancy Mace of South Carolina, Representative Mace, she was the one who said, hey, if somebody is here illegally, and on top of that, we know that they're a convicted, rapist, sex offender, pedophile, etc., isn't this a no-brainer? So it's called the Violence Against Women by Illegal Aliens Act, and it was passed by the House of Representatives, mostly along bipartisan lines last week. And so all the present Republicans voted for it, and kudos to the 51 Democrats who also voted for it. So it passed 266 to 158. So I will give credit where credit's due, because I was looking at who were the Pennsylvania and New Jersey Democrats who voted for this rightfully. Brendan Boyle, I'll give you credit. Congressman Boyle, Representative Boyle voted for this, and that was the correct thing to do. But Madeline Dean, and Dom is going to have, if he didn't talk about this last week because I was off,
have a field day.
Right, he's going to have a field. But Madeline Dean, congratulations, Montgomery County. Madeline Dean thinks it's okay for rapists, convicted rapists and pedophiles and so on, even if they're here illegally. Isn't this a no-brainer? But nope, she voted to support that they should not be, automatically ejected from the country, right? Madeline Dean, another one, Mary Gay Scanlon. And I think of Alfie Goodwin, and this is Delaware County, remember this? Alfie Goodwin, great candidate, great lady. She just doesn't yet have the name recognition. She is somebody who, how many times did we have her on the show, Dan? I'm just trying to remember, but I did events with Alfie. I talked about her a lot. And she, we had her on right before the election and in the months upcoming. And she's just a great lady, great candidate, but didn't have the name recognition in a tough, a Democrat county where, by the way, your taxes going up once again. We talked about it. But Mary Gay Scanlon voted in support of those illegals who are convicted rapists and pedophiles. Nope, let's just let them stay here. I will say I'll give an exception to Dwight Evans, who they knew wasn't voting. He's not back yet with his health problems. So I know there have been a lot of prayers and concern for him, especially over the holiday season. So he gets a pass because he hasn't been back to work really. Summer Lee, as expected, voted against it. Andy Kim, New Jersey's Andy Kim, he voted nay, voted against it. How about that? So we'll talk about that moving forward, but I guess you could say the usual suspects, if you will. In who's the other one? Mikey Sherrill, right, in Jersey. She voted for it. Good for her. But I want to give credit where credit's due with Brendan Boyle. He voted yes. So I'm glad he's, somebody with more, and he's a dad, common sense. Susan Wild, she voted for it, but remember, she's out of there. But this was right before and congratulations, by the way, to Dave McCormick. Was Zioli there? Did he go to that?
I think he did, didn't he?
I believe Rich Zioli was there in person.
Yeah. I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken.
I'm sure that he was.
Rich had said that he planned on going to the swearing in, so I'll have to ask him. I didn't work last week, so I was, and like I say, we were sick. But pretty exciting in Pennsylvania. You think about in Congress, U.S. Representative Ryan McKenzie, who we had here. I interviewed him many times over the last months. And I was told that right before the vote, he had gone over to see his baby son, Leo, who he told us about, 9 months old. But one more reason to celebrate our new Pennsylvania Congressman, U.S. Representative Ryan McKenzie.
and this was days after the opponent he beat, Susan Wild, voted nay on that, no-brainer of a bill to keep us safe from pedophiles and rapists and those who committed sex violence crimes. But so congratulations to Ryan McKenzie, and here in Pennsylvania, it's exciting to see who we have here, and as well Rob Bresnahan. He took the oath of office as well. So we've raised the number of Pennsylvania Republicans in the House of Representatives to 10, and then over on the Senate side, among others, I had mentioned, of course, McCormick, Senator McCormick. I have to start saying Senator McCormick. But they took the oath of office. So exciting. Hey, get your thoughts, 855-839-1210. We'll move through. We have some treats for you, Trump news. We'll bring you all the audio of the day, all of the updates. If you're out and about in the snow and you want to call in and give your own report, maybe you're home today, we'd love to hear from you, your personal snow report, 855-839-1210. Great to be back with you. Be right back.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Phil Almquist giving the Kale and Company flag to Jeremy. He's the recipient for the week.
You promise you'll fly it on your truck and you'll return it next week.
100%.
Okay. All right.
You have other people in the hopper stocker, so to speak, or how can people request the flag?
Probably won't be till January until you can do it, but we have other people. If you want to fly the flag high on your truck or house or whatever, you have to display it. It can't sit in the back of your truck like it did for Kale. Send me an email, greg.stocker@odyssey.com.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hey guys, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. If you're planning on betting the NFL playoffs, buckle up. Betting football's hard enough as it is. We're doing the research for you. So listen to Cash the Ticket with Mike Valeni and I. We'll be dropping new episodes for every single playoff game. And that's going to be storylines leading into it, so some good football stuff, but also the betting nuggets you're looking for. Sides, totals, trends, player props, throw those in there too. Pre-game and post-game, we're going to be all over the postseason. Subscribe to Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Need new doors and windows, but not high-pressure sales tactics?
If so, give Emmons a call today. At Emmons, we provide top-notch installation service with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction with brands like Anderson and Provia Windows and Doors.
And you can upgrade your home today with our energy-efficient options, which help save you money.
Call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet?
Not yet.
Do it today.
Okay.
At 1210 WPHT.
The breaking news of this segment, sponsored by the Delaware County Office of Services for the Ageing. So if you have questions about aging, the Delaware County Office of Services for the Aging, or COSA, can really point you in the right direction to see how COSA can help you or a loved one. Visit delcosa.org. COSA supported by Delaware County Council. So thank you, Delaware County Office of Services for the Aging, COSA, for sponsoring our breaking news of the hour. We do have a lot of breaking news, but we have Trump breaking news, and that is that all morning I've been reporting to you what happened with Judge Juan Merchan in his office, that he is expected for the sentencing phase of that so-called bookkeeping case in the Trump, Manhattan case. That is supposed to happen the 10th of January. That's this Friday. But at this point, we have Trump attorneys asking to delay that. So they're asking for a delay. Perhaps they want to try to pop this up to an appeals court, a different court, because they don't want this to go to a sentencing phase. And that's my educated guess, is that the Trump attorneys, they've been trying to get this thrown out based on the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court ruling on immunity and that sort of thing. So I suspect that's why they want this delay in this case. That's my own personal take on it. But I mean, Juan Merchan last week, the bottom line is he all but acknowledged that this case it's a done deal, but his attorneys asking a judge to halt this Friday's sentencing in that bookkeeping case
while they appeal the ruling upholding the verdict. So they don't want to allow it to get to the sentencing phase. This is the point where they need to stop it in its tracks. Then they go to an appeals court, get the appeals court to actually reverse Judge Juan Merchan's decision last week. That's really in part what I'm seeing here, and then I'm giving you my read on the situation. So the judge signaled last week that, by all accounts, nobody would expect him to do anything that would involve a jail sentence or anything of that nature. But even so, if I'm a Trump attorney, it's a no-brainer that, of course, I'm going to file the appeal. And of course, I don't want it to go to a sentencing phase because I think, does anybody disagree with me? I think this whole thing needs to be overturned. The way that, remember the judge's instructions? On so many levels, this was so wrong. But I think they're obviously looking for the appeals court to just boot the whole thing, throw it out, and it'll just go out. And by the way, I predicted from day one all of these cases. If you remember, and some of you had said, "Oh, Dawn, they're not going to," some of these will stick. No, they won't. I predicted from day one. Go back, listen to it. We keep the receipts. We have the audio. I never believed that any of these would stick. This was persecution and weaponization of our government, and this should never, ever happen again, not to anybody. I don't care what your politics. We should not want this, not to regular citizens, not to former presidents. If they can do it to Trump as a former president of the United States, I still cannot believe they raided his personal residence. That is something that has never happened in the history of our great nation. It should never happen again. And so just one more reason to clean out and clear out the swamp. And I say this on this January the 6th, by the way. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. Okay, Dan, you have some audio you want to get to?
Yeah, I'd love to play back some of the Sherelle part, because I think it's very important to hear. You had an exclusive with the mayor of Philadelphia during the Mummers Parade, and I did pull some of that audio if you wanted to hear you and Larry hear back some of that for the audience. Take a listen.
And we are just honored with our historic mayor, Sherelle Parker, in the house. It's so good to see you. Happy New Year, Mayor.
Happy New Year, Larry and Dawn. It's exciting to be here. I am excited, and this is amazing. This is one Philly, a united city today.
You're united. That's exactly what I was saying, that you were here. You're a unifying mayor, and you should be proud of yourself for that, because this is wonderful. It means so much to the people in the Mummers that you were here today. Well, tell me what went into the decision. Was it a difficult one for you?
So, Larry, I have a confession to make. Your mayor, the mayor of Philadelphia, is a team sport person. I grew up in Little League as a cheerleader, and I ran track, so I've been a part of a team sport. And so when I look at today, I think about all of the work that goes into preparing. I'm talking about the people making the costumes, the strings, all of the instruments, the practicing, the discipline that it takes, and the commitment to be at a certain place at a certain time, to do a certain thing, to participate on this one day. So I'm excited about that, and I think that's the best. It represents the best of what Philadelphia can offer.
So refreshing, Dawn.
Wasn't it wonderful to hear her? And it wasn't just a memorized thing or where she's looking down at a piece of paper, and just reading a statement. That's not what this was. She is celebrating the work of people, and what she's trying to say is, no matter who you are, you can relate. And she relates it as being an athlete, a student athlete, all those years. And think about what she's saying, that this is basically the Super Bowl, if you will, of mummery, that all of these individuals she's recognizing for an entire year, they are working so hard, getting together, practicing, communicating back and forth, the costumes, just everything. And then all year's work culminating in just a short performance of really, the competition, 4.5 minutes of your life, all comes down to, 4.5 minutes after a year's worth of work.
I think it's so important to highlight that.
Yeah.
That where else besides churches, maybe some, I don't know, like YMCAs, but where else do you have the kind of community center that you have with the Mummers in 2025 now?
Mm-hmm.
You have a bunch of kids all over Philadelphia who see their parents playing instruments, marching, having fun. Essentially, I think what a big part and what happens to a lot of mummers is humility that comes from self-aggrandizing humor, and I building that in young people and the community that it brings, I think, is something that needs to be highlighted. We had a mayor, Jim, last time who was just absolutely negative towards the mummers, and I think a lot of that went both ways because the mummers were, horrible to him, and they should be because he was an absolutely terrible mayor. But to see the new mayor embrace them, and to your interview with her, I think it's important to give her a fair shot to offer her, thoughts. And I think it's also important to be critical, and you have been many, many a times of the current mayor and sometimes with the crime. But when you have something like this where it is a unifying moment, it's great to hear a mayor come together with other people and say, look, this is great for the city. And I don't think you've heard that about the Mummers in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for saying that, Dan. I agree with you. I think, the telltale, so many afterwards, after we got off the air, and so many people at different levels just said, wow, that was huge. You have no idea. But Sam Rigobudo, who was, on air with us, he actually got verklempt. He just thought that, first of all, the day went off without a hitch. They were worried about the high winds, the terror threat situation, obviously, that had happened in the wee hours of the morning, and the tragedy that struck. And we'll talk about it. We've been talking about it as far as what happened in New Orleans. But I know that for Sam, Thor McLaughlin, Sam is the String Band Association president, and they were just thrilled to bits that the mayor would lead us off, and that she, through her support and was there, showed up. He gave her a big, bundle of beautiful yellow roses, and she was excited to be there. And there were so many people who were really appreciative of her support. I think it was just such a positive way to bring forth 2025. And the fact that she said, I'm the unity and the unifying mayor, loved it. So right around the corner, by the way, I'll tell you what Larry had whispered to me he wanted to ask the mayor. And I said, if you ask her this, I will hurt you on live television. So I'll share that little secret with you.
A little behind the scenes.
A little behind the
scenes.
Like I'm teasing a little bit and a lot, right? So you can call in. You can, if you were there at the parade, we'd love to hear from you. But we'll take a quick break. Be right back.
The most important part of your financial future is the firm you choose. You see, all financial firms are not the same. Traditional firms that sell securities can't guarantee income and are vulnerable to bankruptcies, market losses, capital gains taxes, and ongoing fees. But the exclusive crash-proof retirement system continues to protect over 5,000 clients from market losses and bankruptcies and provides guaranteed tax-favored income with the potential for double-digit interest returns with no fees whatsoever. Our one-of-a-kind proprietary system continues to protect billions of dollars in assets. Are you in or near retirement? There's only one crash-proof retirement for the American retiree. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn on January 22nd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
These unidentified drones that are flying over New Jersey, they're saying they should declare some kind of a state of emergency.
Here's a marketing idea. I know yesterday was the sales day, so this probably won't be heard for another 6 days. We need to have a Kale and Company drone watch party.
Oh, boy.
We gather wherever these are. We'll go to Jersey, get mulligans on the line. Yeah. We're all going to sit outside, put the fire pits on. We'll have some drinks, and we'll watch drones.
Johnny Z, are you listening, buddy?
Let's go.
Open up mulligans. Let's do this, buddy.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Yes, celebrating the 2025 Mummers, and a real honor for my husband, Larry Menti, and I to once again host for the third year, and they did ask us to host next year.
Oh, really?
Which is just, I can't even tell you what an honor it is. Probably my favorite person, Megan McFarland. We should have her on in studio. She is, I would say, she's one of the people who is so much fun, you know, everybody knows her because we're right there in front of, obviously, the judges stand. She's up there with her cute little umbrella. She's doing the dances. They're throwing. Oh my gosh,
Who's
she
this?
is
I'm
a
sorry.
blast.
I didn't hear you said. Who was this?
Megan McFarland.
Okay.
She knows Jimmy Kelly just ran out, but Jimmy knows Megan.
No, I just asked because if you want her on the air, I'll,
yeah. Yes. I'll have to give you her number, and she's just such a sweetheart. Not for any I have no idea what her politics are, and I always say that there's some people I'm just not going to talk about politics, right? But we don't want to get them in trouble. I get enough people in trouble. I don't know. Are we on YouTube? Can I show this prop?
1 sec, Dawn. 1 sec.
Okay. Well, while you set that up, because I'm going to show you a little prop in a second. So Larry had whispered to me before. He was like, do you think I could ask Mayor Parker if she's one of the mayors, the Democrat mayors, who will meet with Tom Homan? And I said, if you ask her that, Larry Menti, I will hurt you on live television.
That's a good question, though. I mean,
it's a great question. And you can, 855-839-1210. So this is a news person. You know, maybe this is like inside baseball. We're news people at heart, but we are the hosts of a Mummers Day parade, right? So we're there to just focus on parade and celebrate the Mummers, right? So it's not, you have to stay in your lane as a host. And so Larry was like, I know, but wouldn't it be great because we could make news? And what if I asked her, are you going to meet with Tom Homan? Have you met with him? Because we know that he has said he's meeting with, and we have a lot of Tom Homan news upcoming.
Yeah.
But I said, Larry Menti, I'm telling you right now, you ask her that. Like in the wife, gritting my teeth, like, you ask her that. And so he did not. See what control I have?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Was I wrong to say that? 855-839-1210?
I don't think so. Like, especially something like the Mummers Parade where you're celebrating, I think it's okay. But if you had her on the show, I think it would probably be a bit different. And you'd ask her a similar question to that. But the context does matter in this case, I think.
I just felt. Now, here's the thing I will say, by the way. Nobody from the mayor's office came forth and said, hey, make sure you don't do that. So that's not what this was at all. We could have asked any question. And you know what? Knowing the mayor, she probably would have said, you know what, Dawn and Larry, those kinds of questions I'll answer, tomorrow, but let's today celebrate the Mummers. She's somebody who does not fear the media. She can handle herself. You know what I mean? And she would have, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right. So
hey, before we go on, you teased this at the start, and I want to bring it back up because he's here. I apologize. Frank dropped off there, but the giver
Frank.
of this is now back.
The giver of, can I show what Frank sent?
Yeah, so over the break while you were gone, Frank stopped over. Frank in South Philly, one of our regular callers, and brought you a beautiful gift as he does every year because Frank, I think he's like a grocer down in South Philly or has some kind of market down there. Now on the line, but bringing you a beautiful youtube.com/@12WPHT Santa-wrapped homemade red vino from the authentic Italian Frank in South Philly.
Beautiful. Look, Santa's got a belt. Look at this. Look at the detail. Frank, thank you so much. You're so thoughtful.
Hey, Dawn.
You're
good
amazing.
morning, and Happy New Year's to you. You wasn't there at the studio when I came up, and wish the staff over there a Happy New Year who wasn't up there. But enjoy it. What I brought up there, the wine and the super sock gobble go, and there's also a mortadella in that tray. I don't know if you got a piece of that.
Frank, I might have hoarded the tray for myself. Well, I took a lot of it home. Nick Kale took some, and others that were here that day. But she got the wine, though. She did get the wine.
They ate everything.
Dawn, if it cleared out in one day, Dawn, anytime Jim has my telephone number. You can come down here and we'll make you up another tray for your home over
sweetheart.
there. But and getting to the Mummers Parade, we're looking to bring it down to South Philadelphia again. But I was at the convention center. I'm been affiliated when we first started in the comics with the South Philadelphia Vikings, not the South Philadelphia String Band, but the Vikings. I've been affiliated with them for the last, since 1970. So you're talking about a little over 50 years that we had that South Philadelphia Vikings.
And the Vikings, because I assume that's because of the Scandinavian roots, the Swedish roots of the Mummers. Is that right, or why the Vikings?
Well, like I said, we started in the comics. We was in the comics for about 4 or 5 years, 6 years, until we got we built floats and stuff like that. My friend Butchie D'Amata that started the South Philadelphia in the comics. He by trade he's a carpenter. He's a contractor, but he builds all types of floats. And he learned from a guy by the name of Billy Isaacs with these floats when they used to build big ships like the Viking ships, the Mississippi River boat. That was the best one that I seen built. And then they had the pirate ships. They were built right there at 12th and Oregon down here in South Philadelphia years ago. A guy by the name of Billy Isaacs used to own the bar there, but he was the head of the downtowners down there. But the floats they used to build, it was just amazing. And that's why we would like to bring it back down in South Philadelphia. We're working on it to bring it back down South Philadelphia, start maybe down the Navy Yard, because now the Navy Yard is being built, all kinds of developments going down there. And through the live casino down there that they might want to do the judging right there in front of live casino doing. So we're working on it, and I'm glad that Mayor Parker came here for the day to enjoy the all the brigades, not just the South Philadelphia Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 or 12 that do that in the convention center, and the rest are out in the street. But like I say, we like to bring it down to like Washington Avenue on down southbound into the Navy Yard, because that's plenty of room down there, either to start or end down there.
So you're saying not in front of City Hall, but maybe they want to change it once the Navy Yard, because that's all renovated.
The reasoning behind that, Dawn, is because back in the day, like I'm talking back in the 70s, 80s and stuff, before they brought it up to Center City, in South Philadelphia, the stands used to be filled with people from the neighborhood, and I mean jam-packed, and a lot of vendors and stuff like that. What's happening now in Center City, most of them are tourists. Tourists at the Center City right now is kind of upside down right now, basically, and mostly are tourists up there. Down South Philadelphia, if we bring it back down over there, we can still have the tourists. We have the space down here, wide open space, and we also have for the mummers to turn around, kind of drill before we actually do the judging and stuff like that. It's more condensed. It's more condensed up in Center City, where the traffic is kind of tight up there.
Mm-hmm. That's a fun idea. As far as the Mummers Fancy Brigade results, Shooting Stars first place, Satin Slipper second, Golden Crown third, and South Philly Vikings fourth. Congratulations! Okay. That's exciting.
Well, we have about 13 championships. We won about 13 years since the convention center started doing the Fancy Brigade in there. Now, out of all of them, Shooting Star was excellent. The South Philadelphia was excellent also. There's a lot of good Fancy Brigade that go in the convention center. Now, I'll tell you the most impressive one that I did see, and that was basically for like kids, where the balloons and stuff like that. They were clowns. That was just fantastic for the kids. That came to watch it in there.
It's just a wonderful tradition.
Yeah, I had all my grandkids up there this past year, and it's just fantastic because the weather doesn't affect it in the convention center.
Yes.
But if they move it down to the Navy Yard, there's plenty of buildings down there that they can turn around and do the same thing. The difference is that you have wide open space that can either end the parade there or turn around and begin it there for the practice before the parade or after the parade. They go down 2nd Street. You can't miss 2nd Street. And here's my route that I would say from Navy Yard up Broad Street to up to the live casino, do the judging there, go down Broad Street all the way to Washington Avenue, go eastbound on Washington Avenue to the Mummers Museum over there, and come down 2nd Street. Where 2nd Street, it's just a blast over there. Every year it's a blast. But, nice guys down there in 2nd Street and all the brigades. It's fun to do all these things. By the way, during the first year, I never made it to Broad and Snyder. I like to bring out that point. That's because I drank a half a gallon of wine back then. I was young and I didn't make it up. I woke up with 7 blankets on me. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'd love to hear what people think. If you like it at City Hall, or you would be for moving it, the parade day side, the morning parade, because there are 2 different events going on. In other words, the parade, that's where Larry and I are hosting. It started 9 o'clock, although we're there in the wee hours of the morning, obviously, because as everybody is, they're early. But we were on 9 to 5-ish. But then the Fancy Brigade that you're talking about, that was in the evening on 6 ABC, right?
Yes. They do one session on 11:30, 12 o'clock, and then they do the second one at 5 o'clock, and that's the one that's on TV. Yeah.
So two different events, 2 different venues.
Yeah.
But well, thank you for the beautiful wine and for all your words and your mummer's dedication too. I think I love your knowledge of it. 124 years of mummers, and there's nothing like it.
And during this week and next week will be the when the super shot and the gabagoles are being made, the breeding process this weekend.
That's
so
Jimmy
if you come
Kelly's
back, you'll learn the process of it.
Ooh,
nice.
Can she stomp some grapes with you, Frank?
I know.
No, we don't stop the grapes no more. That was done. That was abolished a few years back, Dan, because one of them persons in Italy had Ashley's feet.
Ew.
They don't stop them no more. We have big machines, and they have a machine that takes the grapes right off the stem.
Hey, Frank, we've got a request from our YouTube. YouTube.com/@12WPHT. Our chatters love you, Frank. And they just request you to say your home country's name one more time.
My home little town, and only 150 people live here. I visit this past summer with my family. Is Badolato, Calabria.
In what country?
In Italy.
They love
Italy.
how you say. They love how you say Italy. Italy.
Italy. I was born there in 1952. Came to the United States in 1958.
It's a beautiful place. One of my favorite places.
Thank you, Frank, for everything, man.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
My pleasure, Dan.
Happy New Year, and thanks to Frank. And thanks to what I talk about whatacrock.com all the time. They save me so much. I especially back to work now, and all I do is just plop one of their meals into the slow cooker in the morning, and these are delicious meals. One of the ones that we had not tried before, the chicken pot pie stew. That's a delicious one. The old-fashioned pot roast. Grandma's homemade meatballs are delicious. They are. I said, Larry, what's your favorite? He loves the Grandma's homemade meatballs. David's favorite are those chicken parm meatballs with that melted Parmesan cheese. Ugh, I know I'm making you hungry. But if your New Year's resolution is to cook more and eat out less, then you are going to love whatacrock.com. Let them help you make these easy-to-cook, nutritious dinners. Like I say, just drop a meal into your slow cooker in the morning, go about your day, come home, and a delicious dinner is waiting, simmering. No chopping, no slicing, searing, or any other prep is required. No subscription required to order Whatacrock's meals. They make an excellent gift for anybody who could use a little help in the kitchen or maybe an easy meal. Like people recovering from surgery or an illness. What about new parents? The college students, they've gone back to school now. Send them. Just go to whatacrock.com and you can choose. Or maybe as a sorry for your loss. That's another way that you can send somebody just a care gift, a care package, if you will. Meals delivered, they're delivered so quickly. And you want them to be able to choose their own meals. Just give the gift of a Whatacrock digital gift card. Make sure you use promo code WPHT, get $10 off your order. WPHT, get $10 off your order. Whatacrock.com. Do this. Whatacrock.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
When it comes to your home, trust is everything. For 45 years, Kitchen Magic has built a reputation for transforming kitchens with precision and care. From custom cabinets to countertops, backsplashes to storage solutions. And we get the job done fast. In just a few days, your dream kitchen becomes a reality without the hassle. So trust the name your neighbors have relied on for decades. Kitchen Magic. Get your free in-home consultation at kitchenmagic.com and let's cook up something extraordinary.
Big news, Cherry Hill. The Hester Chevrolet family is expanding with our new location, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill, formerly Mall Chevrolet. For over 40 years, the Hester Automotive family has been part of the Cherry Hill community. With over 600 vehicles available, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill now offers one of the largest inventories of Chevy vehicles in the tri-state area. See why 2 Hester Chevy locations are even better than 1. Come visit Hester Chevy at the mall or always online at HesterChevyCH.com.
Your way or no way at Hester Chevrolet.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Every year, millions of Americans use opioids to manage pain. Pain can be unrelenting, overwhelming, and all-consuming. So why do so many of us try to manage pain only from the palm of our hands? Doctor-prescribed opioids are appropriate in some cases, but they just mask the pain. And reliance on opioids has led to the worst drug crisis in American history. That's why the CDC recommends safer alternatives, like physical therapy, to manage pain. Physical therapists treat pain through movement, hands-on care, and patient education. No warning labels required. And by increasing physical activity, you can also reduce your risk of other chronic diseases. Pain is personal, but treating pain takes teamwork. When it comes to your health, you have a choice. Choose more movement and better health. Choose physical therapy. Visit MoveForwardPT.com to find a physical therapist in your area. This message is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is going to help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth. A message from Truth, the Ad Council, and ONDCP.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So let's get to it. Here we are on January the 6th. And of course, in D.C., the question, hopefully all of those lawmakers are there as the official certification of the presidency. President-elect Donald J. Trump takes place today on Capitol Hill, despite an estimated 10 inches of snow expected in D.C. But we also still have the debate. All these years later, more than 1,500 people who were prosecuted after the J6, and still after J6, and so many questions. So Dan had found...
It's all stemming from Jim Acosta's show, really.
Okay.
Jim's really trying to paint a picture today, it seems, of just straight-up violence from Trump, continuing the January 6th narrative. Well, first off, I think this is somewhat fair, but still it's questionable, because why is he doing this on this particular day? Take a listen.
Take a moment to remember the bravery of the police officers who defended the Capitol on January 6th. Their courage helped safeguard American democracy after Trump's lies about the 2020 election incited a violent insurrection. Officers like Sergeant Aquilino Ganell, Harry Dunn, and Michael Fanone, who have all been on this program, they deserve all of our gratitude, as do the many, many other officers who were at the Capitol that day.
Jim, you've had such crap to say about police for years, and then today you decide to take a moment to focus and highlight the effort of the police. But it continues.
And nobody, he doesn't talk about the fact that they should have had backup. That those officers,
100%,
nothing, where was the backup? And we've all heard the backstory on that one. But they were basically, it seems like they were set up and teed up to be sitting ducks.
And then he brought on Democrat Representative Norma Torres, who had this to say, Dawn.
I do not believe that he's been able to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I think people have chosen to elect him and have chosen to deny the fact that the mob that came to hurt us, to hang the vice president, the Republican vice president of the United States.
Hang the Republican vice president of the United States there, Dawn.
Who has now endorsed Trump, by the way.
Just continuing the same narrative. And Maria Cardona wraps things up. Dawn, take a listen.
I think that history will certainly deem Donald Trump as one of the most violent presidents who allowed violence, who encouraged violence. And I don't think history will judge him well. I do agree with Stephen that clearly voters decided to prioritize the economy before they did the dangers of democracy.
They're still not getting it, Dawn.
I just can't believe that she would double down on that. He's so dangerous. He's a violent man. I imagine, he's murdering people. There's murder in Mar-a-Lago. And what is that? Covered up? It's crazy.
Yeah, so I'll keep monitoring today's media as it goes on. But they continue down this path. They tried to lie to the American public for years now, and the day comes back again, and what have they done? They haven't learned from their mistakes. Nope, they're just going to continue down the same path, Dawn.
Doubling down, proving their irrelevancy, but Doge, the co-Doge, is he a co-Doger? The Doge Department co-head, Vivek Ramaswamy, he talks so darn fast that when they try to interrupt him, it doesn't matter. Because he's that smartest guy in the room. I love that he's doing the Doge with Elon Musk. Let's hear him. Was this on CNN? I know we played this in the 6 o'clock hour this morning, but Vivek is, speaking out about this and talking about all the questions and that we still do need an investigation to find out, first of all, about all of the confidential informants. So I know that Chris Wray, before we had gone on holiday break, we had talked about the fact that Chris Wray had very carefully worded his answers when he said, well, there are no current FBI employees who are on the payroll. He had to do like the asterisk behind everything. But the truth is we now know that there were many of these confidential informants, let's say, who were there. And were they posers? And what were they posing as? And were they placed there? And then what was their role? And that's something that Vivek Ramaswamy and many of us, right, that we've talked about. This deserves a proper investigation, not that farce that Liz Cheney and others took part in.
Video footage that have come out, Dana, it is shocking that you still haven't gotten a clear answer of how many federal agents were in the field that day. Look at now the video footage of actually throwing explosives and rubber bullets into what was a peaceful crowd, then releasing to the public what came in response to that. But now look at the video footage that was released, and I'm glad we're talking about it because viewers deserve to look at that footage. Capitol Police literally letting people in who were then now prosecuted. Some of them have gone on to commit suicide because of what the government's doing. That is a case of entrapment, and I think the government has not been transparent about this. There's entrapment going on, and this looks like a case of entrapment. And if you look at even over the last day... What do you mean by
entrapment?
Entrapment means that the police goaded people to do something than they otherwise wouldn't have done, and then they arrest them for actually doing it. I was in a different place before a lot of that evidence came out, but you have to respond to the evidence. What is your response, or what is anybody else on CNN's response to the video footage that was released of Capitol Police literally just peacefully allowing people into the Capitol?
What we know
or
is
shooting
that
into peaceful crowds.
850 people have been convicted of crimes.
But the reality is many of them were convicted before that information was released.
If they'd never thrown the concussion grenades, never used a pepper spray, this wouldn't have happened. It was a peaceful protest.
And that's what we've heard. But the thing that Vivek Ramaswamy is pointing out is that we don't have the clear answers, that we need to have the transparency. And you would think that, a journalist like Dana Bash, would she not push for that? Would she not push for transparency? Would she not push for a proper investigation? And that's where we see a real change, because back in the day, I don't know, isn't that a no-brainer that journalists would want transparency? The journalists would want a proper investigation that looks at all of this. And yet here she is, the pouty, Dana Bash, pouty face. Oh, but they were this. No, we need the investigation and we want the transparency. Isn't it funny how the media that's complicit, they do not want the transparency. They don't want the truth. And what does that tell you? It tells me a lot, just right from the get-go. Shame on them. And Trump has promised that case by case, they'll look at everything. But for those nonviolent offenders, and we know there are so many who never committed violence. I remember I did Stu Bykowski, of all people, who, I've had on the show many times, but he was the one who said, oh, Dawn supports pardoning these J6ers, too conservative. And I was like, Stu, what are you talking about? First of all, I never said that in general, but I said case by case. If somebody never committed a violent act ever, right? They never did anything. They literally, some of them walked in, it was like 2 hours later, and they walked into the Capitol. And these people are serving federal prison time. And I'm talking about years. And so do I support, especially for the vast majority of these more than 1,500 people who've been hunted down even as recently as 2 weeks ago. And then they're being put on a federal trial. And then on top of that, sentenced to some of them, 15 years, 17 years behind bars? Really? I mean, we have people in the city of Philadelphia, by contrast, who have been convicted of things like, second-degree murder, involuntary. They didn't get that much time, if any. Maybe they served a year, 2, 3. So it's lopsided, it's crazy, and it was all about persecution, and it was all about being able to call Trump violent. That's what it was about. 855-839-1210, the number to call. We have a great guest around the corner. We'll talk about drill, baby drill, and maybe Biden's attempt, current president, outgoing President Joe Biden's efforts. Is he trying to usurp or maybe be a party pooper, if you will, Trump's power to bring forth energy independence? We'll talk about that moving forward with a great guest in our 11 o'clock hour. And speaking of gas and power, we got to talk about my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, featuring the very latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. I'm talking about Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. These models have such beautiful, sleek new designs, innovative features powered by the very latest in technology. And with thousands of new as well as certified pre-owned vehicles and they're available across all of these New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware dealers. These are new as well as certified pre-owned vehicles available right now. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Just visit them, piazzapremiumautos.com. Tell Dawn sent you.
Well, here we are again, and this is looking like a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train?
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
Ron, the size difference alone is staggering.
Oh, unbelievable, Jim. And this guy is acting like he doesn't have a care in the world.
What is this guy thinking, Ron?
Well, this is one of those rare moments where I actually find myself at a loss for words.
I can hardly bear to watch.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. Railroad tracks are more dangerous than you think. See tracks, think train. For more safety tips and information, visit ctracksthinktrain.org.
Oh, the book lover's heart. It's too healthy for words.
And the nature lover's heart, it flies high with the birds.
See the art lover's heart, throbbing vibrant with color.
And the food lover's heart, it's as sweet as a cruller.
Hear the music lover's heart, how it's always in tune.
And the night lover's heart shines as bright as the moon.
But the heart of someone with pulmonary hypertension, PH for short, labors. PH puts unbearable stress on the heart, which can cause death from heart failure. And it's often misdiagnosed as asthma. But with early, accurate diagnosis, new treatments are helping people with PH live longer and better. The Pulmonary Hypertension Association gives hope to PH patients and caregivers. We want people to have
a heart that is strong for a life rich and long.
We're putting our heart into finding a cure. Learn more at phassociation.org. That's phassociation.org.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system.
There's no need to wait. The time is always right at Colonial Hyundai. Hi, it's John Ashdale, the Cars Are. Today's the best day to buy a new car at Colonial. We have over 200 vehicles in stock. New Palisades, Konas, Tucsons, and the exciting EVs that have taken the world by storm, the Ioniq 5 and 6. We understand that everyone's needs, budgets, and challenges are different. But here at Colonial, we take the stress out of buying a new car. Big incentives, like $6,500 for your trade, guaranteed no matter the condition. The best financing in the business, no matter your credit, with rates as low as 0%. Plus, we streamline the buying process so you can be in and out of our dealership in no time without any unnecessary hassle or waiting. So why wait? Shop us online 24/7 at colonialhyundai.com or visit us on Lincoln Highway in Downtown. Colonial Hyundai, the faster, easier, better way to buy a Hyundai.
0% financing applies on select 2024 new Hyundai models. $6,500 for your trade, not available on EVs. Offers cannot be combined. See dealer for more details.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
So we will talk about these latest moves, if you will, by President Joe Biden. And many Republicans are crying foul, saying this is an effort to try to usurp the efforts by incoming President-elect Donald J. Trump to make us energy independent. And so we'll talk all things energy policy, drill, baby, drill, what today's Biden action means moving forward with our next guest. But we have a call that we want to just get to. Somebody making his way soon, apparently, to meet with President-elect Trump, speaking of which. And this is Delaware's Scott Walker, who I know has run for Congress, among other things, in Delaware. Hey, Scott, good morning. Thanks for checking in.
Oh, good morning, Dawn. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
It's very gracious of you to have the controversial maniac Scott Walker on your show.
We're all dangerous, Scott. We're dangerous, crazy people.
Oh, I know. Did you all? Yes, I'm trying to meet with Donald Trump tomorrow, but now it's going to be Wednesday because the flight is canceled. I'm here at the airport now.
Yeah.
So, boo spirit. Come on. Anyway, I'll fly down tomorrow. And I'll be at Mar-a-Lago, and hopefully you got to talk your way into these places. You can't just show up, and you got to show up. You can't call. And so I'll speak with somebody. And I don't even know if he's in town or not. But I got to tell him about the situation in Delaware. We've got a transvestite for a congressman, and I'm running against Chris Coons, the senator, and I think they should all resign right now because they're all, and Lisa Rochester's another one. They're all guilty of severe felony campaign donation violations, spending money, donation money on their own private, their own private account. I'm going to pursue that with the U.S. attorney here as soon as I get situated down in Fort Lauderdale. So anyway, that's what's.
So these are your allegations, but into an investigation, but. So what are you hoping to achieve by going to Mar-a-Lago, Scott?
Well, it's kind of, you might think it's kind of silly, but it's right up my alley. I'm not going to attempt to try to tell Donald Trump or give him advice. The man knows everything. He knows what's going on. If you think he's making a mistake now, forget about it. He's not making a mistake. He never makes a mistake. He's perfect. Okay, the only mistake he's ever made is he's too nice, Dawn. That's the only mistake he's ever made is being too nice, and that's what caused all the trouble. But what I'm going to do is go down there, and we're talking about the J6 prisoners. And what I would like to ask Donald, President Trump, the favor of leading the J6ers in a parade, a march down Pennsylvania Avenue with him in the reviewing stand, led by the Florida A&M marching band. And we want the flags flying. We want them in formation, the ones that can still walk. And we want to salute these people. Because if they aren't martyrs, Dawn, I don't know who is. And so that's what I'm going. I want to lead them down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to whistle around my neck so I can blow the whistle and get the parade moving and just rub it in their faces. Rub it right in their faces.
Well, Scott Walker, safe travels. I know there are a lot of flights that are being canceled because of all the snowstorms, and it's affecting, 60, 70 million people across the East Coast. Scott Walker, thanks for calling in, and safe travels to you. As we continue on, I think, part of it is that for the J6ers, I don't know that many of them feel like they would want to publicly do anything except if they are pardoned, the nonviolent ones, which are most of them, they just, I think, want to go on with their lives. You know what I mean? And so that's from the family members I've spoken to. It's just there are so many people are devastated by this. And it's such a sad situation. So around the corner, are we going to go right to Andre, or what are we doing?
Yeah, we're ready to go, Andre.
Andre Beliveau.
Before we go there, though, I just want to get a clip from Caroline Leavitt, the incoming, what is she going to be? The press director of communications for Trump? Or?
Yeah. White House spokesperson.
Yeah. She discusses today's Fox and Friends with Steve Doocy about this. Biden just announced an offshore drilling ban. On his way out, is he kneecapping Trump's efforts for energy independence? Take a listen to Caroline Leavitt.
This is a disgraceful decision by the Biden administration. And I say the administration because we all know Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on. This isn't him. This is the radical left environmental extremists in his administration who don't care about what's in the best interest of the American people who just reelected President Trump with a resounding mandate to drill, baby, drill. This decision, the intent behind it, is to exact political revenge on the American people and on President Trump to try to slow down his administration and make it harder to implement the agenda that he campaigned on. But the good news is President Trump is going to get to work to day one. His administration will look at how we can rescind this radical order and expedite permits for drilling and for fracking to bring down the cost of living and energy in this country.
So that's the choice by President-elect Donald J. Trump to lead as White House press secretary. In other words, she succeeds Karine Jean-Pierre. And by the way, I know I've said this before, but Caroline Leavitt becomes the youngest press secretary in United States history. So she's young. She just had a baby, and she's hard at work right now. Do we have Andre Beliveau?
Yes, we do.
Hey, Andre. Good morning.
Good morning, Dawn. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So take me through, we've heard, you and I have talked so many times about in Pennsylvania and the Pennsylvania vote as far as why so many people here. And this is a huge issue in Pennsylvania when you think about land rights, when you think about the jobs. But when you hear this news of what the Biden administration is doing just today, as far as, this issue, what do you see and how much of an impact do you really think that it has on the incoming, soon to be incoming, in 2 weeks, Trump administration?
Right. Well, honestly, should anyone be surprised? What a ridiculous thing to do out the door. And, President Biden saying he wants this to be a part of his, or whoever's putting out statements for him these days, that they want it to be, part of his climate change legacy. The truth is, this is it's not a climate change legacy. This is a legacy of higher costs for everyone and virtue signaling that at the end of the day harms the middle class, harms lower income Americans, and fundamentally harms America's ability to be energy independent and have energy security. So what the actual impact, real quick, what President Biden has done in the last days of his administration is he's banned new offshore oil and gas drilling. And this is obviously an attempt to try to make a dent in President Trump's promise. What he got elected on, certainly what people in Pennsylvania supported was American energy dominance. They want American energy security. We want to be able to have affordable, reliable, and secure energy. That was the resounding victory that we saw. This was what polling time and time and again had showed. And now President Biden is trying to have a dent in that. What the actual impact will be is yet to be determined. I mean, I've been doing some analysis this morning and over the weekend when we were hearing that this might be coming. So it's unclear exactly what this would do to actual production, but this is more about, again, it's a virtue signal. And the reason I think they're doing this is because a lot of the Biden regulations, things that you and I have talked in the past about, Dawn, like the EPA power plant rule, and a lot of these other really draconian, really crazy environmental regulations that are just going to raise energy costs for everybody. A lot of these regulations, President Trump can reverse on day one. What's unique about this one is because this is a part of, essentially, it's a legacy legal issue with U.S. waters because of the conditions of what offshore drilling would do. So this is one of those things that President Trump really can't reverse with the stroke of a pen. This reversal of what Biden did today is going to require an act of Congress. Now, of course, Republicans control Congress, so certainly this needs to be a top priority for the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate to reverse this order and work with the Trump administration, work with incoming Energy Secretary Chris Wright to correct the course on this so that we can unleash American energy dominance. So I'm not sure how much of an impact this really would be, but it's certainly something that the new administration and the new Congress could correct in the early days of this year.
So apparently Trump this morning was on Hugh Hewitt's show earlier this morning, or it was pre-taped or whatever, where he said he would undo it or unban it immediately, saying it was
that audio if you want
ridiculous. Oh, okay, let's listen. Thanks, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get things done. We don't get them done. I see it just came over that Biden has banned all oil and gas drilling across 625 million acres of U.S. coastal territory. It's ridiculous. I'll unban it immediately. I will unban it. I have the right to unban it immediately. What's he doing? Why is he doing it? You know, we have something that nobody else has. I mean, nobody has to the extent we have it, and it'll be more by the time we finish because I'll be able to expand. You know, we're going to expand our country, and it'll be more. We have oil and gas, and whether you manufacture widgets or gadgets or whatever you happen to be doing, some countries have to work very hard to do that. We do too, and we will, but we have oil and gas at a level that nobody else has, and we're going to take advantage of it. And when I see somebody saying he's going to ban 625 million acres, he doesn't know what that is. He doesn't even know what 625 million acres would look like, and we can't let that happen to our country. It's really our greatest economic asset, and we're not going to let that happen to our country.
I swear I did not give my cold to the president-elect. It sounds like everybody has this cold, I swear. But you just alluded to this, Andre Beliveau, and you're such a policy expert on many issues, but energy especially. So Trump, can he undo a piece of it, but does he need an act of Congress to completely undo what Biden has done today?
Right. I mean, there's plenty of things that the Biden administration have done that President Trump absolutely has the executive authority to overrule. This one might not be one of those. Again, I think you might see some legal challenges in the court. There might have been some changes with how agencies operate because of the reversal of Chevron doctrine. But traditionally, because of these legacy laws that have to deal with U.S. territorial waters and particularly with drilling offshore, this is probably going to take an act of Congress. Again, because Republicans have control of both chambers of Congress, I think that will be easier to reverse. And I'm sure that President Trump's administration will be working with Congress to ensure that this is reversed. But it's unclear exactly because of these, some things that have changed in the courts, if he can do it immediately. But certainly all of the pieces of government are in place with the current control of the executive branch, and of course now with the federal legislature, the pieces are in place to reverse this. I think it's just a matter of how long that will take.
And I have to ask the next question because over the holiday, our water heaters went out. And so shout out to Marvin E. Cans, who the guys came, it was like days before Christmas, and they're putting in new water heaters. But there was a headline that Biden will, exact new bans on certain types of water tanks and water heaters, and then who that would impact, presumably people who might live in smaller spaces, maybe senior citizens, that sort of thing, or lower income folks. What do you make of that so-called water heater ban?
Well, I mean, we've heard this story before, right? It's the gas water heater ban now. Before it was gas stoves. Again, all of this, fundamentally at the bottom of this harms the middle class. This harms low-income Americans. This is not about climate change. This is really about targeted degrowth. It's about targeted deindustrialization, whether it's in people's homes, raising the cost of living, or whether it's our reliable power plants that they want to take offline. This has very little to do with the environment. The environment is good window dressing for some really radical Marxist economic policies and cultural and social civic policies that they put in place, and they're just using all of these energy and so-called climate policies to enact some pretty radical stuff. Again, people should have energy choice. You should be able to have the freedom of choice of what are going to be the right appliances for my home, what's going to be my affordable option. If somebody wants electric water heaters, if someone wants to put rooftop solar on their house, they should be allowed to do that. But it shouldn't be subsidized. We shouldn't be subsidizing rich people's solar panels on their house. And we certainly shouldn't be subsidizing all of these kinds of crazy things that are just going to raise costs for everybody. People need economic choice and the freedom to do these things. And like we've talked about, Dawn, a lot of these things at the state level, especially in Pennsylvania, we need our lawmakers in Harrisburg to be working on some serious permitting reform. Yeah. We need our lawmakers to be doing some, pullbacks on our regulatory state to give people more economic freedom and more choice. And when you talk about things like, banning natural gas water heaters or natural gas stoves, that's just removing choice from people for some pretty arbitrary reasons. But the real impact of that is going to be higher electric bills, higher energy costs, higher fuel costs. And that was rejected at the ballot box. So I think it shouldn't be shocking to anyone that this is happening in the last days of the administration, but I think people should feel a sense of promise coming, that there are people in place now who hopefully will be putting forward the correct policies to make including energy, but our everyday lives more affordable.
Yeah, when this latest story about the gas-powered, the water heaters, when it broke, there were a lot of people, again, to your point, bipartisan, people from all walks of life talking about, from across the country, just mentioning things as far as, they have people out west, let's say, and they have water shortages. Or if they have a storm, you think about the South recently with the storms, and if you have a water tank, you have safe water. It gives you a reserve, as opposed to those tankless kind of water heaters. There were a lot of people who were very thoughtful. For me, as a mom of teenage boys, I would say, I just want something where I can shut it off. You know what I mean? Where I could just push a button. My dad used to go down to my sister, and he would by hand. He would manually turn off the hot water when she was in the shower. He would time us, But I wish they had it on an app where you could just shut it off when that teenager is in there for, you know what I mean? They're in there 45 minutes. It's enough already.
Yeah.
The definition of local control. I want to, Andre Bellavose, as we continue the conversation, just other topics. I'd reported earlier today the breaking news story that we had seen that the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau he has announced now that he will step down. Is this something that we will see? I know this week, for example, we've talked a lot about Italy's prime minister, for example. She was just at Mar-a-Lago. Is this something that we see sweeping not just in America, but worldwide, sort of pushing a reset button, if you will, and thinking about leadership that's true leadership that is not, I don't know, pandering to the left to these nutty, crazy, out of whack policies.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a growing trend. I mean, obviously, our election in the United States is reflective of that. What's happening, it seems, in Canada right now with Prime Minister Trudeau. A lot of the Green parties in the previous European elections last year saw, complete repudiation. So there is this sliding to the right, or I would just say a sliding towards common sense. I think a lot of people are waking up to really these outlandish progressive policies, whether they're extreme environmental policies that are raising people's costs, whether these are, policies that people are seeing in their everyday lives and in culture and in their civic engagements in lives. I think people are really just waking up to progressive excess, and people, I think, just want to come back to a reasonable, moderate middle. I think that's where most people are, not just in the United States, but even across the country. And I think what people have been labeling as, right wing or radical right wing, I think at the end of the day are what most people feel as just this we want more freedom, we want more liberty, we want more choice, we want less regulation. And I think people are really waking up to this. And I think, yeah, absolutely. I think what we're seeing potentially now in Canada might be part of this growing trend that we're seeing not just across North America, but I think we've also seen in Europe as well.
Yeah, true story. Dan has the audio, and this was earlier this morning, but this is Justin Trudeau making the announcement.
Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Okay, I already regret taking that audio, but just your response, he's just so, I mean, first of all, I discussed with my kids, but,
Over dinner.
Yeah. Right.
The dinner time conversation last night.
Dude, you're a loser. But okay, Andre, your analysis.
Yeah, I mean, again, unsurprising. And he's going, and Trudeau, his counterpart right now, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada, Pierre Poilievre, he's sort of a typical, in America, we'd consider him sort of a center-right, like libertarian-esque conservative. He's a free market guy. He wants to deregulate. Trudeau's he's a progressive liberal through and through, and I think he sees the writing on the wall. So I think no amount of poutine that you could eat at the dinner table is going to change the political. And I, as someone of French Canadian descent, I can say that. I think he sees the political writing on the wall. And yeah, John, I think this is a trend that we're seeing. And it's not so much a rightward leaning trend as I would say it's common sense. Mm-hmm. People understand that over-regulation and these progressive policies that have been shoved down people's throats across the globe for too long, people are waking up and saying, hey, maybe this is actually a little too much. And I think people understand the fundamental truths that we knew, and in the past that have from even like from the legacy of Ronald Reagan, free markets, deregulation, giving power to consumers, power to people, less taxes, more robust business, allowing people the freedom to make these choices. People want that. That feels good. And I think at the end of the day, people, in the West, in the United States in particular, that is a deep part of our DNA, is that belief in freedom and liberty, and individual freedom and economic freedom. And again, I think this is a growing trend we're seeing, and progressives, I think this certainly the last couple months has been a wake-up call for a lot of their policies.
Yeah, Andre, do you think, I know a lot of this is the economy and inflation, but also immigration? I think that is another issue in Canada, the same as in America, the same as in across Europe, these open border type policies. Do you think it's more the economy, but do you also believe that it's Trudeau's immigration policies?
Yeah, Prime Minister Trudeau, I think, he's governed very similarly to how President Biden has governed. So I think these same sort of issues, whether it's the economy, whether it is immigration, I think all the the cost of living and inflation, all of these things are certainly connected. And like I've commented in the past, we can get really technical about energy policy and about all these different regulations, but at the end of the day, it is it all comes down to what's hitting people. The actual kitchen table issues, the pocketbook and wallet issues, and what is the cost of living, and what sort of environment do I want to raise my family in. I think all of these things are absolutely connected. You really can't separate any of these things. But I would say that the same sort of policy landscape that we saw under Biden-Harris certainly, I think, is reflective very similarly north of the border in Canada.
Andre, someone who's so familiar with Canada and natural resources, as you're an expert in, I just want you to underline the like Trump's pushing this whole governor idea to Canada, them becoming a new state. But we all know you laugh at it, and it's kind of a joke, but it all stems from NAFTA and the trade agreements and such. And looking at the numbers, Canada has 10.4% of the world's share of oil. That's number 3 in the world. When we're talking about diamonds, they're number 3 in the world as well. They have natural resources out the wazoo. They're not some podunk country, and they don't contribute on the level that they should be. So I just want you to speak to the amount of natural resources that are in the ground there up in Canada.
Absolutely. Well, we always like to say, right, Pennsylvania is the Saudi Arabia of North America. I mean, we have enough natural gas. The beautiful liquid gold, as President Trump likes to say, we have plenty of that in Pennsylvania, and certainly they are in large supply in Canada. And I mean, this is something that I think the Trump administration and federal regulators should really be looking at: is what can we do to build those relationships with Canada? What other partnerships can we make in North America to really develop the oil and gas industry in a way? Because I mean, really, we need it, not just here in the United States, but the grid across North America. We are going to need reliable oil and natural gas. So I think looking at trade agreements, I'm sure political changes in Canada will be more favorable to something like President Trump's energy dominance agenda. So these are certainly things we should be concerned about and looking at as Americans as well. And I know plenty of Canadians would agree. I mean, certainly the oil and natural gas that we have here in the United States and that would certainly be produced in Canada would be far more affordable and certainly far more cleaner than anything anyone in Europe was going to get from Russia or Venezuela. So to be quite frank, I mean, the geopolitical allies of the United States and Canada in Europe need North American oil and gas to not only continue having clean air, clean water, but to have reliable energy. So certainly, I think across the United States and even Canada, I think you're going to see policy trends moving in a better direction for a more reliable and affordable energy industry, and that's certainly going to include oil and gas. It has to.
And USMCA, in other words, the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade agreement, being popular in Canada.
I can't speak to its popularity, but I certainly think policies that are going to boost the economies of all of these countries, policies that are obviously going to deliver on an energy dominance agenda, and I think we're going to start. I think the time of overregulation, and I think the time of sort of government-controlled industrial policy is starting to flee, and I think we're going to see much more deregulation. More robust free markets, certainly here at home in the United States, but I think even across the West, and that would certainly include Canada.
Yeah. Andre Beliveau, until next time, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Don. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Andre. Take care. And, I should point out, that was when I met President Trump at the time, was during when he was trying to push through USMCA. It'll be a key issue for Congress in the summer of 2026. That's when a formal review of USMCA is set, and they'll determine whether to extend the pact, etc. But that was during the time that Zioli took us in. I got the silver platter. Remember that? Great memory for me. But we'll talk about it more, and no doubt Trump is going to talk about USMCA and that trade agreement, tariffs in the headlines today. We'll talk about all things Trump. But when we think about automobiles on the road, got to talk about my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles. They feature the latest luxury vehicles From today's top brands, I'm talking about Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. These models have sleek, new designs and all the innovative features powered by the latest in technology. And they have thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles available right now across their Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey dealerships. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. PIAZZA, you can visit them, piazzapremiumautos.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
The steady snow will begin to taper off during the afternoon from north to south. High temperature up around 32. Total snow accumulations 2 to 4 inches around the city, highest south, and 6 to 8 inches with locally higher amounts across far southern New Jersey and central and southern Delaware. Becoming partly cloudy tonight, very cold. Watch out for icy conditions, low 23. And for Tuesday, partly sunny with a high 33.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-380-9012. 800-380-9012. Again, that's 800-380-9012.
Rhea here to tell you about the exciting things going on at Lexus of Cherry Hill. The L Certified Winter Collection Sales Event is going on now. New year, new ride. Receive special finance rates on L Certified Lexus models now through February 28th. Over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Lexus of Cherry Hill is family-owned and operated, a 7-time J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence recipient for the customer sales experience. Visit LexusofCherryHill.com.
For J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence information, visit jdpower.com/US-DOE.
Look at you. Your life is under control. Errands done. Leaves raked. It's time to give yourself a reward. You know you've been waiting all day for your favorite tasty cake treat, but which one? There are so many great choices. Is it the delicious Crimpet or the mouth-watering candy cake? No matter what you choose or where you are, it's always time for a tasty cake, so choose what feels right and enjoy. You've earned it, and you know you deserve it. Tasty cake, except no substitutes.
Is your home cold and drafty, or windows and doors just won't open like they used to anymore? Brighten your home with new doors and windows from Emmons Roofing and Siding.
We offer a wide selection to fit your style and budget, ensuring energy efficiency and aesthetic appeal.
And new doors and windows enhance your home's value and comfort.
Call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Did you know that not all oil changes are the same? Putting the wrong oil in your car can cause a serious problem. That's why it's important to take your vehicle to experts who know what oil is best for your vehicle. The experts at Meineke. And right now, Meineke is offering a full synthetic oil change for only $59.95, plus a free tire rotation. And while your locally owned and operated Meineke dealer is rotating your tires, he'll check to make sure your brakes are safe, because even if they aren't making noise, they can be worn. Meineke, doing car care right.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Do you know when the best time to buy investment properties is? It's now. It's always now. You just need to learn how to buy them correctly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night and learn how to buy investment properties and make money every time. That's right. That's what we teach. We teach how to buy investment properties and make money every time. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now. Take a class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Don't go through life ignorant about how to become a millionaire. Learn how to invest in real estate, the stock market, precious metals, and learn from an expert. At Investor Schooling, we teach these things and more. We only provide education, and we will teach you how to leverage real estate, how to leverage the stock market, and how to leverage precious metals to make more money than you've ever made before. Go to investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday. We will see you there, investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Free speech lives here. With Dom Giordano, weekdays noon till 3 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
I think we need to find moral clarity, in this country. And I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, we need to move on from January 6th. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history.
What?
And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery. We need to never forget, because past becomes prologue if you forget any race.
So that is your geniuses on the ABC's The View. That's Sunny Hostin, who, by the way, is an attorney, and quoting Shakespeare there, past is prologue. But the deal is, I wonder if she will apologize within the next 48 hours for comparing J6, where the only person who died that day was one military veteran who was shot to death that day. We did have others who had committed suicide. But she's trying to sound, she's quoting Shakespeare in Act 2, Scene 1, The Tempest, right? And by the way,
you did not just pull that from memory, did you?
I did, because my son does all the Shakespearean.
Oh, really?
But that quote is quoted by military individuals, and it's I know it's in, when we were in D.C., it's in at least one of the buildings there, as they talk about the military talks about this wars throughout history and how you can look at the cause of what leads to war. You know what I mean? That history, in other words, past is prologue, where history kind of tells you where we're going type thing.
It's on the National Archives building in
Okay.
D.C.
See, I knew it was one of the... But in any event, she's an idiot. And the only thing I'm going to say about January 6th that I agree with her on is that I agree that we should not forget what happened and the persecution, the weaponization of government that happened up until, like I say, just weeks ago, where you had the FBI hunting down law-abiding individuals who trespassed in that building, did nothing violent. They're not accused of any, most of the people not accused of violence ever. And yet all of these resources went to hunting them down. And it was because of politics. That should never be a motivation to spend that kind of money to go after people and hunt them down because they were at a protest. And so for her to say that and then compare it to the Holocaust, where millions of innocent civilians, obviously Jews in not just Germany, but in Europe, were not just executed, were burned to death. Mommies and daddies and babies and children and grandmas. And oh my God, to compare that to the atrocities of the Holocaust is just wrong. And it's just shows you where she's trying to make this as big as the Holocaust in our history. And so I just think people like her, if you want to look at how she'll be remembered, well, she won't. And that quote is one of them. It's and And it's really insensitive, I think, to what the real atrocities that have. And what was the other one she compared it to? Child labor or something?
Slavery.
Slavery.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I just think, really? I don't think so. I mean, were there some of the things that happened that, and we saw it on live television? Yeah, there are pieces of it where it was disturbing to see. And did you have a riot that went out of control at some point? Yeah, but now we learn that some of those individuals leading the way, now that we have the benefit of all of the video that continues to be released, that some of those leading the way were, in fact, Capitol Police officers themselves who were opening doors or leading the way, or allegedly federal FBI informants. So my whole thing with it is I don't want us to forget all of this. I want the review to happen. I want all of that video. They should put it on a site, and they should say, here's the website. Go to it yourself and look at all of the video yourself. If they need to block some of it out for security reasons, fine. If they want anybody who signs onto the site to give your, credentials, you have to do that right now. If you want an open record, oftentimes you'll have to register, put your driver's license, whatever ID. Fine. You may pay a small fee. That's fine. We do that all the time as journalists. You want a certain court record, you have to go in there and register, put in your info, and you get the information, let's say, emailed to you. I have no problem with any of that, but they should make all of that information public. We should be able to view that, and we should be able to scan through all of the video and see what really happened. And the fact that they continue to push back on that is wrong. By the way, that was McCarthy, former House Speaker McCarthy, who allowed that to begin. Remember? He was the one to allow. Initially, it was Tucker Carlson. So they've been doing these Freedom of Information requests where they're now, slowly they're releasing it. 855-839-1210. Quick break, and we'll be right back.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at St. Albert the Great Church on Welsh Road in Huntington Valley, Saturday, January 11th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com!
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So much happening today. One of the breaking news stories this morning, as Trump has been speaking out, blasting Biden for trying to, Trump believes, undermine his drill, baby drill promise. And a lot this week, as it's the final full day for President Jimmy Carter's hometown to pay respects before his journey to Washington, D.C. This week, I believe it's Thursday, is a national day of mourning as we celebrate the life of former President Jimmy Carter, who turned 100 last week. His funeral this week, which is why you'll notice flags flying at half-staff. So much happening locally, nationally. I hope you're safe as the snowstorm is hitting, and the worst of it to come within the next few hours. So be safe if you're headed out on the roads. Let's get to some of your calls. And one of our friends, this is Big Al. I'm so thrilled that you're calling in this morning. So how are you doing? I know you're recovering from heart surgery.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Did the triple bypass. Everything's been going great. Never been in one bit of pain as I came out of the operating room.
Thank God.
And these scars healing right now, it's almost invisible on my chest.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, praise God. Praise the Lord, man. You had just was talking about January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a lot of people haven't seen that video that Nancy Pelosi's granddaughter was making, the documentary where Nancy Pelosi actually admits in the car on tape that she was responsible for what happened on January 6th. For some reason, that is getting pushed to the side, and they say what Trump said, go peacefully, let your voices be heard. That is the inciting the insurrection. Plus, an insurrection doesn't only last one day. Did you see that tape of Nancy Pelosi?
Dan has it. Dan Borowski has it.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Now, this morning, Nancy Pelosi released a statement. 4 years ago today, our nation watched in horror as a terrorist mob stormed the Capitol grounds, desecrated our temple of democracy in a violent attempt to subvert the peaceful transfer of power, ... And it says... Go ahead.
And that police officer that shot that innocent girl, he got a raise, by the way, and he has a long history of doing things that weren't correct. So there's so much being hidden, and this is what makes me sick.
Mm-hmm.
But the purpose of my call was, you were talking about when you were talking about the gas stoves and all that other kind of stuff. Well, first of all, I think Trudeau is getting out of there because he doesn't want to be governor, I guess.
Well, he doesn't want to lose the next. He's going to lose. His own people have turned on him, right? So.
Yep. All these regulations that Biden is putting in is only making it tougher for people with middle class and low income families to even live. And if the United States had a zero carbon footprint, it would not do anything for the rest of the world and for the world if we start looking at things realistically. Because, a threat to democracy, taking decisions and choices from the American people, that's the threat to democracy. You can't decide on what you want to do, buy an electric car or buy a gas car, a gas stove or this stove. That's the threat. People don't realize that our rights are slowly but surely being taken away from us.
Well, hopefully that changes 2 weeks from today. Thank God, January 20th. And thank God, Big Al, thank you so much for calling in and letting us know that you're on the mend. We've been praying for you. So glad for it. And Ed from Delran, Happy New Year to Ed. Hey, Ed.
Hey, Dawn, Happy New Year, and thank you so much just for being on the Mummers Parade. You made my birthday grandiose just
Happy
by
birthday.
being there.
Absolutely.
Well, it's the true reason the Mummers are marching is for your birthday.
That's
there, Ed.
right.
Oh, yeah, isn't that incredible? So, listen, I just want to tell you, I want to address. Oh, and by the way, I have to give you one quick rhyme, and that is Dawn's Stensland is back because she's keeping us on track.
Thanks for the rhyme, Ed.
Yeah, I just want to talk about, and you were talking about this earlier, about Biden administration, because it ain't Biden. They're putting these regulations on gas, water heaters now, and they're going to force the course up. The price up. I didn't mean course. They're going to force the price up. And then the other thing is you got them regulating you offshore drilling out of business and all this. This is so incredible. Like, how come they can't see that we want a different course of action?
Yeah, it's so true. Thanks for calling. Thanks for the first rhyme of 2025. We appreciate your time.
Welcome.
We appreciate your rhyme and your time. Thank you, Ed.
Oh, now you're getting involved.
I know.
Here. Oh, gosh.
I know his family's like, oh, not her.
Don't encourage it, Dawn.
It's so true. Yeah, one of the stories, as we talk about all the breaking news and developing stories, one of the stories that I know for Larry and I, we talked about health, obviously, because everybody was fighting COVID, norovirus, whatever. But all the word of two things. The big study, and we'll have to go into this bring one of our favorite doctors on and talk about the study. First of all, the Surgeon General wanting to put on warning labels on all alcohol, wine, beer, alcoholic beverages that they are a leading cause of cancer. That's a huge story to me, and that even one drink a day can make you vulnerable, no matter what it is, beer, wine, hard alcohol, whatever, that can lead to or put you at higher risk for cancer. I don't know if you saw that. And then the other health story was, and I know we talked about these way earlier this morning on Kale and Company, but the other story that was a study done by the NIH in which they have acknowledged that there needs to be more research on the COVID vaccine and the boosters, because apparently people who've had the especially mRNA vaccine, which is what I had, that's what Larry and I had, that you have a greater, let's say, propensity or greater risk of developing, in particular, Alzheimer's. Those two medical reports, and I think they've gone underreported over the holidays, are deeply disturbing to me and bothersome. And the fact that we're always being pushed to, oh, red wine is so good for you and all of that. So I wasn't really drinking red wine over the holidays anyway, because we all had different, illnesses, whether it was the flu, COVID, norovirus. But I'm just saying.
No fan? No? So if you're served a glass of wine, what are you ordering?
Well, as far as red wine, I love
in general.
Pinot Noir, but I haven't really... I had said I'm not going to have red wine until Italy, until our Italy trip.
Okay.
Just because all these studies came out. Did you see this over the break?
Yeah.
I mean, and we all noticed in Italy that we pretty much had a glass of wine with every dinner, or even lunch, and you don't feel it at all. It's because they don't put the chemicals or preservatives or whatever. So it's everything's different in Europe, even the alcoholic beverages. And that's what I think they need to study, quite frankly. That's my take. Did you see those studies, Dan? Do we have to take a break?
No, we're still good. We're good until about 56
okay.
here. But yeah,
Just making sure.
I'm a white wine drinker. Never been able to get the taste of red wine. And the reason it's because it gives me those horrible, horrible headaches. And I never really bought the one glass of wine per day is, good for you. And yeah, it's crazy to see them coming out and saying that now after I hope not too many were abiding by that for very long.
Well, because a lot of people say the reason you're getting a headache, they say that you would not get the headache if you were having the wine in a different country where they do not allow all these preservatives. That's what they claim. It's the
doesn't surprise me.
What are they called? The different preservatives that
so you're telling me there's
another
industry that U.S. gets different product than the rest of the world. Oh, okay.
That, in other words, and when we did our wine tastings and we went to the vineyards and the wineries and so on in Italy, last trip, they said to us that they do something. They have their own little, preservative or whatever, but it's nothing like what we have in this country because of what we allow.
Yeah.
So RFK Jr., I haven't heard him specifically speak about that. I wonder if he'll be asked about it now because of all the stories with the cancer risk. And also because they say that alcohol raises your inflammation. And so inflammation in the body is never good. Mm-hmm. And so anything that raises your level of inflammation makes it tougher to, it lowers your immune system, but then it makes it tougher to fight something. That's the level of my knowledge. That's pretty much, I just know inflammation bad.
Well, in case you get the thirst before Italy, there's a great gift there to your left from Frank.
I know.
That is homemade, and there are no preservatives in it, so maybe,
See?
But you got to get the homemade stuff. True Italians making this stuff. You can't just go to the store and buy it. I got criticized from Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam's criticizing me on youtube.com/@12WPHT, saying, stop drinking the cheap crap, Dan. Well, I don't know. It's not for me, I guess. And we're being told sulfates are the reason for the headaches. Yeah.
But apparently they're different. All sulfates are not created equally or whatever. Allegedly in, let's say in France or in Italy, they don't have the same preservatives. Italy. Yeah, as Frank says, Italy. So we'll have to continue that conversation. But I just think, man, whether it's wine or any types of alcohol, beer, whatever, or food, why is it that this country lowers the bar? We claim that we have the strictest standards, but we really don't.
I have someone on the line that's a big red wine fan, that being Dom Giordano, our host, coming up next.
Hello, Dom. Welcome back,
Dom.
and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We did talk about this over the holidays, and I just believe this Surgeon General is beyond a grandstander, causing problems, saying that 17% of breast cancer cases are due to alcohol as a major factor. That's just, to me, outlandish. And I think when you have your doctor on, I think they'll say the same thing.
So you're saying that you're still drinking that red wine every night?
Of course. No, not every night. That's more of a calorie count. But other than that, I would drink it every night, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's at least 120 calories per glass.
Yeah, well, that's...
Start adding that daily.
That's for it, yes.
So what do you have coming up on the Dom Show?
We have Michael Watley coming up, thought on this day of all days, election integrity, and the guy who won the election, it's becoming more apparent, Scott Presler at 2.
Perfect. Great Dom Show just ahead. Be safe in the snow. The Dom Show starts right now.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Dr. Marty McCary. First of all, I got to tell you off the record, my kids have lice. Any advice?
There is a good protocol for lice, but it's a lot more common than people think.
So I'm not going to die or anything, right?
You're going to live.
He's a world-renowned surgeon at Johns Hopkins, and you're wasting his time talking about lice.
That seems like the most apt thing to ask a professor of medicine.
Exactly. I loved his answer. He's like, yeah, it's really common.
Like, shut up. Why are you asking me this? My time is valuable.
Rich Cioli, weekday afternoons, 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real. It happens every day. You can recover. Discover hope and help.
Never give up on yourself.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time. Loaded up, and there's breaking stuff. Great side question. Dan back with us. Henry back today. All ready to go. And just one little aside, and we'll get to talking a little bit about Trudeau. Is it really that Trump was he was on the ropes anyhow. But on a wintry day like this, I've only been to Canada a couple of times. I need somebody with some real insight. What is it that would have a wuss like Trudeau as the leader for 9 years and now on the ropes because he's gone too far in the contrast with Trump and they're afraid of Trump pushing back on him, that he finally announced his resignation today? I never understood this. It just doesn't seem to be that type of country. The rough and tumble of hockey, guys with no teeth, Molson. When we've done something associated with Canada, that's what we get. But there must be a critical mass of people who are progressive, and their policies and their politically correct stuff is Toronto is one of the worst. It's the capital of this. And also I put up on Twitter for fun, since Biden's on the ropes, he's trying to torch as much of the country as he can as we wind down. Which one has actually been worse? Now, I would say that Trudeau has been worse, but given the advantage that he has, Biden, presiding over the United States, where we have all kinds of checks and balances, great economies, might, versus Canada, I guess you could make the point that Trudeau has been, but he had less to work with. Biden has had everything, and look at what he's done. What a day, though, finally announcing he'll be stepping down. He'll be the minority leader.